Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor, and we are here with another Battlegrounds tournament match. So this is XeXeD's tournament again, and I believe this was round 4. Yes, this was round 4, and I'm up against GarbageDisposal. Funny name. He has Void, so I banned Void instantly. I was considering, I was between Scorpion and one other champion as the third ban, because I usually ban Maw. And I went with that. And this is actually the first matchup that I had a rank 5 Valkyrie for. So I rank 5 Valkyrie like an hour and a half before this match, and I had almost never used her, very little. And she is actually going to get banned every single round, no shocker there. He had a rank 4 Valkyrie, but I asked him why he banned Valk after if he had a rank 4, and he just said I was too worried about the rank 5 and barely losing rounds because of it. So I thought, okay, that's fair. And just so you know, this is actually best 4 out of 7. So the first 3 rounds were best 3 out of 5, and now we're at best 4 out of 7. Also, my next matchup is against Fintech, so we'll see how that goes. I'm recording that match the same day that I'm recording this audio. So we're getting a decent draft so far. I saw he had a rank 4 Tigra, and because this meta kind of messes with her miss and unblockable, I decided not to ban Tigra, even if she's a rank 5. And I'm saying this right now, unless something massive and shocking happens in the first few rounds with Fintech, I'm not planning to ban his Tigra either, even though it's a rank 5. So he places Doom on defense first. I decided to go with Man-Thing. His best option here is Kingpin. And he does use him, and I decided to go with Dr. Doom. I know I'm probably losing this match, but Dr. Doom doesn't do that much for me, and I wanted a half-decent option just in case he somehow messed up his fight, ate like a special 2 from Man-Thing, which honestly wouldn't even do that much. I'm just, I don't know, just if something happens. And something is going to happen in this fight that you will see very, very soon. So here we're going to be able to throw SP1. And the problem with Doom in this meta on attack, he is mostly a defender for this meta, is that you just don't have a way to deal with the weakness, because Doom's playstyle has you all up in their face pretty much the entire time. And there, the fight's over. I dash back trying to hold block, and I guess my block just did not register in time. Eat the L2 and I'm dead. So that just happens sometimes, I honestly, when that happened, I wasn't that mad because I knew there was a very, very low chance I win the round. And he's going to finish in like 10 seconds. So, it was not even close. Even if I had not eaten that L2, there was 0 chance I was winning that round. So as soon as I saw his score, I was very relieved. I was like, okay, that mess up means literally nothing. So I placed Domino, and I know he's going to use Archangel here, and I was pretty confident in my matchup of Archangel versus Nick Fury, and again, I do have to win this round. If I was him, I probably would not have used Archangel here. I probably would have thrown the round and kept Archangel as an option for Bishop, because unless you're super confident in the matchup of Herc versus Bishop, Archangel's just the better option. We get pretty good RNG here, and we get 3 bleeds on our first heavy and 3 on our second. So now, after our third heavy, we already have 2 neuros and a few poisons, and we are just stacking up these debuffs. I am going to make one mistake in this fight, and I'm going to take a combo to the face. I'm pretty sure that happens in the second life, though. Wish it had happened in the first life. It would have lost way less health. But here we go into second life, 30 seconds in, and I'm feeling pretty good. There, I was trying to bait the special, and I just missed my dash back. It wasn't that I missed my parry. I wasn't trying to re-parry in that moment. And then here I have to throw the L2 because I don't want to get pushed to L3. Unfortunately, I do not get what I want. Here we block. We get 2 poisons, throw the heavy attack into the SP1, and that is actually going to kill him. He could have thrown this SP1 here, but it wouldn't have saved him. He was dead, and at that point I know I'd won the round, because if you're not done with that fight with Archangel versus Domino in 60 seconds, you're not finishing with much health. It means something went wrong. And that's what happened, and we do win the round by, I believe it was around 900 points. So we're into round 3 here. He places Gallon on defense, and I was pretty sure I'd had this one if I placed Bishop. He goes Tiger, which I suspected, but I'm pretty sure that he's going to mess this up, so I just need to finish my fight. The reason I think that is because while it's not the hardest matchup, it is a hard matchup when you have to deal with weakness and you can't miss, which means you have to dex the specials, because while you can still burst them down, you don't have the safety of Tigra anymore. So here I was trying to get Gallon to throw his specials. I always confuse the abilities of Gallon with Hulkling because one's immune to Nullify and the other's immune to Power Control, and I always mess up who it is. It turns out that it's Gallon that's immune to Nullify and Hulkling that's immune to Power Control. And I didn't know that, so you see I was being very weary with my hits at the start of the fight. Here, unfortunately, I get pushed to the special 3. I decide I'm not going to throw it, and I was right. It actually would have wasted time because I am going to kill faster by just doing this. I'm going to do some hits, and yeah, unfortunately, we took a little bit of damage there, but we do finish off the fight pretty nicely, and I was right. He did end up messing it up. My best guess is he got a special 2 off first by countering the heavy with heavy, and then he ate the L2 trying to exit. That's my best guess based on the health remaining and the time. And we do take game 1, so we're up 1-0. I didn't say it at the beginning, but I actually won the coin flip. I let him call the flip, and then I did it in the Discord, and he lost, so I invited first. And so, which means that in this game, he is going to be inviting first, and then we go back and forth. So I'm going to stick with the same bands, but here I took a little longer just to make sure I knew what he had in his deck. And he sticks with Torch, Korg, and Valkyrie. He's actually going to switch up one of those bands in the very last game in a ditch effort to kind of save things. But I start off the draft really nice. I have 3 of my the best champions I like to draft for this meta. Hercules, not as much, not quite as good. I would have wished someone like Kingpin, but that's fine. Here I'm going to take Doom and Bishop, but I was considering Man-Thing there for a second until I saw he had Kingpin. He's going to take his Man-Thing as well as his Gallon, and I'm going to take my Hulkling, which is one of the best champs for this meta, and I believe I'm going to take my Hood. That's correct. And I mostly took that Hood because Hood can take champions like Herc and Gallon really easily, as well as a decent option for someone like Kingpin. So he places his Korg on defense, and I am going to go for Doom on attack. I took a little while because I was considering Bishop, but I thought that Bishop probably had more value to me as a defender than Doom did here. He ends up going with Kingpin for Thing. I know that matchup well. It's going to take roughly 65 seconds with a rank 4 versus a rank 4. And I know that the matchup of Doom versus Korg takes a lot longer than that. And I don't time out here, but I get close. I just got not the best AI, and he also stayed close to me for a while, so there was a few times in this fight where I have to take a big break and like dash back and not be near him, so I lose precious time there. But we go for a special one here, and now we're going to bait out the heavy. I went for a light attack, a light intercept, and it did not work, but that's completely fine. Here I'm trying to get to my special 3. There I use my striker. I said in the last round against, I believe it was against Scorp, the last round. Yeah, it was the round before this. So I guess technically 2 rounds ago, that you aren't allowed to use your striker. And we both agreed to it, which was fair because in that matchup, neither of us did use our strikers. It turns out you are allowed, and neither of us knew you were allowed. So I'm going to be using my striker in this one. Just because I actually didn't know that it was allowed. So my SP1 didn't do that much damage because I believe when the beams of the SP2 actually hit that that I was at 4 weakness, which is minus 40% damage, which is just catastrophic damage loss. Here I'm trying to get a few hits in. while I still have Aura to disable the Rock Shield, but unfortunately he dashed back, so I wasn't able to do it. I'm able to throw an SP2 here, and at this point I know I'm going to finish the fight. I just wanted to have a few seconds left, throw another SP1 here, but he actually beats me to this special, so I just block it, end with 99%. And like I thought, he did his fight a little bit slow, but he does still get the win, just like I thought. And I thought I still had a pretty good shot here with the champions I had left, because he had no one for Domino other than Archangel. He did actually get he has a rank 4 Domino and a rank 4 Nimrod, but in both of the first 2 games he drafted neither of them. Like, they never showed up as options, which is just really unfortunate. But he decides to use Archangel versus Bishop. I know the matchup of Kingpin versus Man-Thing. I've done it a few times in this meta, and I'm pretty confident in it. So I knew I would win this round, especially because he has guaranteed health loss with the matchup he's doing. With the right RNG, it can go well, and you can probably finish with around 75% in 40 seconds. But I was pretty sure that if I finished with full health in like a minute, I would beat that. So here we're just going to be pounding L1s into this guy, because that's a big source of damage when our crits aren't doing extra damage against a champion like Man-Thing. And it actually turns out that he is not running 5 out of 5 MD. He, I believe, only has level 2 or level 3, as you see a few times in this fight when my buffs end. He does not get anywhere near the power that you would expect him to get. We're also getting pretty good RNG in this fight of our debuffs getting shrugged off and turned into rage, so that was really nice. It really helps with our damage output. This looks like a decent Sig Man-Thing because he's healing almost 400 per second, which is Man-Thing's Sig ability. When you're below 50%, it's a regen. When you're above 50%, it's a fury after you throw a special. But we do take that round. He does actually get it done in about 60 seconds and ends with 32% health, so probably just got bad RNG. And at this point, I know I won. I can take anyone he has, and I was pretty confident in the matchup of Herc versus Bishop. Something is going to go wrong here, and it is the exact thing that I mentioned earlier is the problem with Herc in this meta. Actually, I think I said it about Doom, but Herc has the exact same problem, and it's arguably worse for Herc. You have to stay close a lot with Herc. So there I go for a heavy attack. I let it off slightly early, and because of that, I am I eat the SP1, or the heavy, sorry. So here I'm trying to push to a special 2. I realized in the first 4 fights that this guy's actually not running max limber, so I can get a medium and a heavy in. So I knew that was guaranteed to land, like I wasn't testing it or anything. Here I thought I could kill, but I didn't notice I had so many weaknesses, because at this point I have 6 weaknesses, so I'm only doing 40% the damage I should. If I had even as little as 3 weaknesses, that would have killed him. But instead he goes for the special 3. I gave him pretty much no window to throw special 2, so it's my fault, and I was just trying to go for a cheesy kill. But I do win because he's fighting Domino with Gallon, which is not a good matchup. So we do take that round by quite a bit, and we're up 2-0. So headed into game 3 here, I am the one inviting once again, and I'm going to stick with the same bands at this point. I know who he has in his roster, so I'm not going to waste time looking. He bans the exact same champs again: Torch, Killmonger, and Valk. I imagine he just doesn't have Killmonger and Torch, and he was scared of the rank 5 Valk. We're going to go for Archangel CGR here. Really bad draft there that I did not get rank 4s. And I had to pick up CGR, who I don't love for this meta. But we do get Korg here, which is awesome. And because Torch is banned, I'm picking up Mephisto as much as I can. I believe I pick him up in the next game as well. So he gets Man-Thing and Joe Fixit. I imagine he picked up that Joe Fixit as an option for my Mephisto. And then here I end up taking Titania for his Man-Thing, and I end up taking Gallon. and he is going to get the next 2 picks here. I don't actually remember what he takes. He takes Nick Fury and he takes Ultron. That makes sense. That is a rank 4 decent SIG Ultron, so I'm really impressed by that. Mine's rank 3 unduped. I would love to dupe mine so I could rank him up. He plays his defender first, of course, and he's going to go with Man-Thing. So now I play Super Skrull because he had no one to stall. He has no one to take Super Skrull, and I'm using Super Skrull as a stall because I know that I can win the fight with Titania. So we're going to use Titania against Man-Thing. Basic strategy in this fight is to just get to special 3 and throw it. You get decent damage out of your special 3 and decent damage afterwards. Unfortunately there, he dashes back, which forces us to trigger our unstoppable and unblockable via dashing forward. I wish he had let me parry so I could have done like medium light dash back, and then on my second opening I would have activated it, because then it would have lasted until my third opening, whereas here it only lasted for my first 2. But here we get it back. We're going to go for combos. I go for a heavy attack. Really dumb. Honestly don't know what I was doing there, but if you didn't know, Titania is actually immune to buffs. Can't be nullified or anything like that. So here I'm going to throw the special 3, but that is why she is such a good counter to Man-Thing. And this actually does really solid damage. That does like 10%, and then of course you get your buffs back, so I'm just going to be beating him up. And we get him down to 34%, probably another 30-ish seconds here. He does not want to throw special 2 though, unfortunately, so we are going to lose a lot of our Furies. You see, we just went from about 30 Furies to 4, and by the time I was hitting him, 2 Furies, which is just really unfortunate. I do land a nice intercept there, and we're really close to getting our Haymaker, so I'm just going to do that, counter the heavy for God knows what reason, just no reason, and then throw the special 2. He is almost dead, so we're going to bait the special 2, go in for a few more combos, and he is going to drop. I was pretty happy with that fight. Obviously could have been done a little faster and a little cleaner, but I knew I'd won that, because unless he pushes his Nick Fury into his second life and loses almost all his health, he can't even win that fight. Like, Nick Fury, first life, straight up cannot beat Super Skrull on time in first life. Maybe if you're running max deep wounds, I actually don't know. Can't confirm that. But I throw Korg on defense here. I was pretty sure he was going to use his his Domino. I was thinking Archangel because I use Archangel for Domino. I thought he would use his Domino for my Korg and place someone like Thing on defense, because I didn't really have the best option for Thing, and my plan was that when he places Thing, I was going to throw the round, but I guess he was taking a little bit of a risk on this round so that if he got into round 3, he would definitely win. But the risk he took was just too big of a risk, and it left him with no option for my fight. I'm getting pretty good RNG with Archangel here, and this Domino is melting. We're just going to be dexing that SP1 the normal way I do, by dashing in and then dashing back. And then here we have time to land a heavy, because again, he does not run max limber, and this is the downside of max limber. So all of our debuffs are gone, so we're going to try to get them back by throwing an SP2, and we do actually get a bunch of debuffs. At this point, we have 3 weaknesses, but those are mostly for healing up. I don't really care that I'm losing out on very much damage. And this fight is just about over. This stun's going to activate there. So right there, if you'll notice, I held the block for an extra second so that he wouldn't, or so that Domino wouldn't throw the special. And the reason I did that was so the stun landed, and I had a chance to kill faster, because if I had to bait the special 2, it would have taken a few more seconds. So there we go, and like I thought, he did not win, and we take that round as well, 2-0. He timed out like I thought, and we are now up 3-0, which means we are just 1 round away from winning this. So, yeah, this is game 4, and he invited for this one. I decided to stay with the same 3 bands. I took a little extra look at his roster, but just, you can never be safe enough. You can never be sure enough. And he does actually switch his Killmonger band for Super Scroll, mostly because he just does not have a fantastic option for my Super Scroll. Rank 4 Super Scroll is a very uncommon rank up. I did it for Alliance War defense back in the day, but, you know, it's paying off now in BGs. He's in virtually every single meta as a defender, other than nuke metas like Power Shield and stuff like that, because he just gets eaten up. We're having a decent draft here. We draft Killmonger the one time he's unbanned, so we do get a little lucky there. But unfortunately, immediately after, he managed to pick up his CGR. And then he picks up his Hulkling. I'm still feeling decent about it here. I was in between Cersei, Korg, and Bishop, but I think I'm going to go for Korg. Yep, I do. That's probably smart. CGR can, of course, take Korg, and it's not that slow of a fight. It's a decently fast fight, but, you know, there are way better options, obviously. So I'm placing first here. I decided to go with Korg. I wasn't sure who he was going to use, so I was just trying to test the waters a little bit because I do have solid defenders and attackers for this round. He chooses to go with Havoc, and I realize that I can use Hood here because even if he places one of his Cosmic Defenders next, I have Rintra. And I was not planning on using Rintra on defense. I was planning on using Domino on defense next. So the matchup of Hood versus Havoc is not a great one because obviously energy damage, and he resists a lot of energy damage. The lucky thing is that our basic attacks are not actually going to trigger his charges. I'm not sure why. There must be like a categorization thing there that they're not counted for what fuels his abilities. But that was really nice because I was kind of expecting it to when I went into this fight. So here we're going to trigger our miss again. And also a really good thing about this matchup is that Hood's Sig ability allows you to steal power. And whenever Havoc loses power from something like Power Drain or Power Steal, he actually loses his charges. So that's going to help us keep those plasmas off of us. We do have quite a few plasmas here, so I'm going to go for another special 2 right here, and then I'm going to go for the heavy attack just because I thought I was ready. And then here it gets him to half health, so at this point I knew there's no way I can finish the fight because my main source of damage is now gone. But he unfortunately throws an SP1 there. Not really too much I can do, and I believe I do end up taking a burst here. But yeah, we do a good job of beating heavies. Do I not take a plasma explosion in this fight? Really? That's kind of surprising if I don't. But we're at decent health, and with the matchup he has, at the moment I'm recording this, I forget what the matchup is. But with the matchup he has, I thought we have a decent chance. And yeah, I was right. We do take a burst of damage there, the plasma explosion. But we're still in a decent spot. We still have 42%, and I'm intentionally staying close here to keep the weaknesses on me because at this point it's not about the damage I do, it's about the health I have. And we get him down to 15%, which I'm pretty happy with for a Hood fight, and we do actually win. He had Gallon versus Korg, which is a risky matchup because you need to land bare light intercepts unless you want to parry and roll the dice with the shrug off RNG. So we do take the win there, and we are now only 1 round away from winning this whole thing. So I placed Thing on defense. I knew he was going to use Crossbones, and watch this. He doesn't. I think at this point he knew he'd lost because even if it gets pushed to a round 3, there's just nothing he can do. I had outdrafted him in this game, despite him being the one that invited me. And he knew my matchup of Rintra versus Hulkling was good. And we are actually going to have a little bit of a thing here where I'm not quite in the corner. And for that reason, I'm going to take combos to the face because my hits were just whiffing. Unfortunate, SP2 does not crit because why would it crit? My Rintra has an inability to crit. As I've said before in these videos, when I use him in fights, I don't know why I bother using Rintra because he cannot crit. Apparently. Guillotine 2099, the Mystic version. But here we pin him in the corner again. We're going for light attacks. He unfortunately throws off the SP1 right here. We're going to get some more light attacks off and throw the SP2. And this one actually does not crit again, because why would it crit? You know, it's me. I genuinely think that 0 times in my MCOC career has Rintra's SP2 crit for me. And I wish I was joking. I wish that was a joke. It's not a joke. And it's at least never happened in Battlegrounds. Not a single time. But yeah, man, my luck with Rintra critting is just awful. And of course it doesn't crit again. So we finish the fight off there. But it's enough. We win. Because he had a horrible matchup. And he only did a 3rd damage to Thing. So thank you very much for the matchup. GG's to Garbage. And that will be all for this one. Hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you later. Bye.